George Foreman, the legendary heavyweight boxing champion who defied the odds by reclaiming his title at the remarkable age of 45 and later became a household name through his multimillion-dollar grill business, has passed away at the age of 76. His death occurred on Friday night in Houston, Texas, and was announced by his family on his official Instagram account. His brother, Roy Foreman, stated that the cause of death was not yet known, a legacy that transcended generations. Foreman's career was nothing short of extraordinary, spanning multiple decades and leaving an indelible mark on the sport of boxing. He fought some of the greatest names in the sport's history, including Chuck Wepner in the 1960s, Dwight Muhammad Qawi in the 1980s, and Evander Holyfield in the 1990s. However, he is most famously remembered as part of a trio of heavyweight boxing legends from the 1970s, alongside Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. Together, they defined a golden era in boxing, thrilling fans with their unforgettable bouts. With his passing, the sport has lost the last surviving member of that legendary trio. Early life and rise to boxing stardom. George Edward Foreman was born on January 10, 1949, in Marshall, Texas. He was raised in a tough neighborhood and had a difficult childhood. His father, J.D. Foreman, was a railroad construction worker, but later in life, George discovered that his biological father was actually a man named Leroy Moorhead. His mother, Nancy Ree Nelson Foreman, worked hard to support the family, but times were often tough. As a teenager, Foreman admitted to being a troubled youth, involved in petty crimes and street fights. He dropped out of school and found himself heading down a dangerous path. However, at the age of 16, he joined the Job Corps, a program aimed at providing vocational training and education for underprivileged young people. It was there that he was introduced to boxing, a sport that would change the trajectory of his life forever. His raw talent was evident from the start, and under the guidance of coaches who saw his potential, Foreman quickly rose through the amateur boxing ranks. Within just a year and a half of training, he shocked the world by winning the heavyweight gold medal at the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City, defeating Ioannis Chepoulas of the Soviet Union with a dominant second-round knockout. As a young American fighter, Foreman's victory was a defining moment during a politically charged era, and he celebrated by waving a small U.S. flag in the ring, a powerful symbol of national pride. Dominance in the professional ranks. Following his Olympic triumph, Foreman turned professional in 1969, and his rise to the top of the heavyweight division was meteoric. With his devastating punching power and aggressive fighting style, he became an unstoppable force in the ring. By 1973, he had compiled an impressive undefeated record and earned a shot at the world heavyweight title against the reigning champion, Joe Frazier. In what remains one of the most brutal displays of dominance in boxing history, Foreman demolished Frazier in just 2 rounds, knocking him down 6 times before the fight was stopped. The victory crowned him the heavyweight champion of the world, and his reputation as one of the most feared punchers in the sport was cemented. However, his reign at the top was short-lived. In 1974, he faced Muhammad Ali in the historic Rumble in the Jungle in Kinshasa, Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Foreman was the overwhelming favorite, with many expecting him to steamroll Ali just as he had done to Frazier. But Ali, ever the strategist, employed the now famous rope-a-dope technique, allowing Foreman to tire himself out by throwing hundreds of power punches. By the 8th round, Foreman was exhausted, and Ali seized his moment, knocking him out and reclaiming the heavyweight crown. It was a devastating loss for Foreman, and despite continuing his boxing career for a few more years, he suffered another significant defeat to Jimmy Young in 1977. Following that bout, he had a life-changing experience that led him to retire from boxing. A spiritual awakening and a decade away from boxing. After his loss to Young, Foreman claimed to have had a profound religious experience in the locker room, which he described as a near-death encounter. He felt that he had seen God and was given a second chance at life. Following this experience, he retired from boxing and became an ordained minister, dedicating himself to preaching and charitable work. He founded the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ in Houston, Texas, and spent the next decade working as a pastor and running a youth center to help underprivileged children stay off the streets.